Well, son, I don't usually take care of you and your three sisters, but this morning I'm feeling generous. So here's a box of Whataberry cereal. Son, with every heaping spoonful, you'll get the taste of heaping dog shit. And as you eat every bowl, you'll learn to lose your morals and talk bad about people and tell a bunch of lies. But if that's not good enough, within every box is a knife where you can best backstab your best friend. Yes, Whataberry cereal. Enjoy it, son. This'll be the last thing you ever get from me. Ha 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 ha. What a day.
All right. Another week of This Week of Wrestling. The host, Mike Monty, and the great Jimmy Pharaoh. Jimmy, how are you, buddy?
Good. What's up, man? What's going on?
Well, what do we got today? We got angry Jimmy today. We got calmer Jimmy today, or happy Jimmy. There's three levels of Jimmy. The three faces of Foley. The three faces of Jimmy.
I would three faces. Try like 300. I would say like I'm a combination of exhausted and irritated. Other than that, I'm doing pretty good. What's going on?
Went to the doctor today. Right, had a couple of
great
things on my scalp, and had to get it check it out, and things went okay. And for the show, we brought in a good friend of yours and mine there, Jimmy, the great Eric Sims. Eric, can you hear us? Are you there?
Hey, it's no BS. Your cult hero is here. It's ESS.
Where's Jimmy? Is Jimmy with us?
I'm right here. I was admiring Eric's bagel.
Wait a second. I got how to get ready for the Monte and the Pharaoh show because can't do a goddamn show if I don't got my good fucking wine.
Oh my
man.
God! King of self things of self promotion.
Dude, it's not. We're not even
off of that, but I fucking just love good fucking wine.
We're not even a minute in, and he's gotten 2 cheap pops in. Good job, Eric. Good job.
So, Jimmy, we brought Eric on, and we brought Eric on because Eric's widely known for his agent skills, where he's had many great professional wrestlers, and one no greater than the other. But he had the Iron Sheik, who passed away, I think, a year from this Friday, right, Eric?
June 7th.
So we thought we'd pay who better to pay a tribute to the great Iron Sheik. But real quick, Jimmy, before you get us going, I want to say great show by Missy Beefcake, along with Brutus Beefcake, along with his Marty Jannetty and his wife, the newly married wife, Addie Jannetty. They had a very good show. And if anyone doesn't know, Marty Jannetty has his own podcast, which is hosted by, I guess his name is Greek Savage. Is that right, Eric?
It's the Party with Marty podcast.
Right. But if anybody watches that show, it's pretty much listen to Greek Savage trying to put himself over. Eric, you were on that show on Sunday.
We did a pre-tape on Sunday, which going to air tonight at 10 o'clock on their network.
So get this, Jimmy. The minute Greek Savage sees we're having Eric on, I guess he must have blew up Eric's phone just like the rest of these guys, right? So, nothing like chasing Monte the Pharaoh. But guess what? They're taped. We're live. It's like, hey, we're WCW, and Greek Savage is Monday Night Raw back in the day. All right, get us going, Mr. Pharaoh. It's on you, my friend.
All right, let's do it. Well, obviously, Eric, thanks for coming on, and we obviously, we know that it's a year now. What did Iron Sheik mean to you personally? I mean, not too many people get to know a lot of these famous wrestlers, but obviously, with your business expertise over the years, you developed a friendship with Sheik. What does this mean to you a year later, and how did you feel about the Sheik as a person?
Well, first of all, if it wasn't for Iron Sheik, there'd be no ESS. No ESS promotions. He kind of put me on the map. So without him, I couldn't be doing either I couldn't be doing what I'm doing today, or it would be a lot more difficult, or I may have gone down a different road with the wrestling. But because of him and his notoriety or whatever, I am where I am. So, he meant the world to me, basically. I did 26 years with the guy. I was professionally married to him for 26 years. So we did, he meant a lot. I mean, I paid my dues with him. I did, put me through the ringer, but, hey, I reaped the rewards too. So it's, it has its pros and its cons.
I remember Jimmy, not to interrupt you, I'm sorry, but Jimmy, you remember when we first started, quick story, we were trying to find our way, and we were kind of like trying to do signings. We didn't know how we were going to go about this whole thing, and that's a story in itself. We won't get into it. But we had made a deal with another agent to have Marty Jannetty in, and this was the power that Eric Sims had, and that promoter was going to bring him to our show, but there was some kind of scheduling altercation. This is early on, and Eric came in out of the blue. No one knew who Eric was. I didn't know who Eric was.
No, you didn't know who I was. Right. Other people know who I am.
So, and Eric laid judgment, like everybody else, Jimmy, of course, against us, and we ended up getting fucked on the Marty Jannetty deal. You remember that, Jimmy?
Yeah, I remember it well, and we were completely in the right, and fuck off to anybody who doesn't agree. I'm sorry. Go ahead, next.
Eric, on a real serious note, and I really want to know this, and I think the fans would want to know this. You were managing the Iron Sheik at the time when his daughter was murdered. What were your discussions with him about that, and how did that affect him? Obviously not good, but we're not in a know. Can I get the question out? Can I get the question out? Thank you.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
All right, thank you. Obviously, it wasn't good, but what was it like? Because not only was he a client of yours, he was a friend. What was that situation like?
It was a very tough time period for him. He cried to me on the phone, and he basically, tells us he wanted to go kill the guy. He wanted, that, but he doesn't want to go to jail, and it's just, he was upset. I'm up, she's down. That's how we communicated, meaning, he's alive and she's not, type thing. And, it's just like a lot of depression, and, it's just like for a short time period, it just really hurt him. Good 6 months, 9 months. It was just, he was just, not himself. So, like anybody would be if they lost a child, especially, when, like somebody murdered the child. Sickness is one thing, but, cold-blooded murder is another thing. So, he wasn't, just wasn't in his right frame of mind, and it just, it was just very challenging, But, he was a pro. He got through it with the appearances and stuff. I try to keep his mind off things a little bit, but it's, again, forget, we all know the character of the Iron Sheik, but, he's also a good family man, and, he had a family too. So, like, he had, feelings, and just, like, he loved his family. So it's, it took a toll on
him. When obviously his drug issues were pretty well documented, how is that push and pull between you and him, right? Because I've known you for a pretty long time. You're a pretty straight-edged, normal, guy. I don't even think you drink, right? So how do you keep control of that without, like, it getting personal, right? I know it's business, but at some point it becomes personal. Like you said, he was a friend of yours. You cared about him. Like, did you try to get involved?
You can't. The problem, as much as I try to control it, put safeguards in it, he always wanted his beer. He always wanted to do his medicine. He always wanted, every time I'm driving in the car with him, he wanted to have a beer. So he kept hiding the beer and stuff. I was always afraid we were going to get pulled over. The cops were going to, cause us some problem, whatever. I always drove slowly, in the right lane, didn't do anything erratic, so it's, I try to, take my own safeguards, and even with the drugs, it's, like, we all know he does the drugs. We all know he's a big medicine man. I try not to have him do it in the car, Sometimes he did, but even when he didn't, his body reeked of it. Terrible. So even if he wasn't doing it, it's like the car stunk for 5 days. I mean, every time I dropped him off at the airport or at the hotel before to go home, like I'm driving home with the windows down, because the car stinks. I you're going home the dead of winter with the windows down, and I just hope a cop don't pass by wanting to see the windows down, wondering like, what the fuck is this guy doing? Let me pull him over. Something can't be right. So I always prayed that would never happen, and it did. Luckily, it didn't happen. But man, I took some chances there, because even though I had no drugs in the car, how do you explain that? Oh, we smell marijuana. Step out of the car, sir. We're going to get the dogs, or whatever, So it's very challenging.
Eric, you worked in the medical field for years. Maybe you still do. I haven't seen you in a while. But I mean, are you surprised that Sheik made it that long? It's not like he died at a young age or anything. Are you surprised with everything he did to his body that he was able to last that long?
Well, I mean, he was 81, 82 years old when he passed, and he was in failing health later on in life with the knee, the ankle. He had congestive heart failure. He had like other medical issues going on. So it's as you get older, your body breaks down. So and the man put himself through a ton of abuse throughout the years, and even doing the recreational stuff, it just doesn't help. The last part of his life, like, he never left the house. I mean, it was very difficult getting him out, getting him around, and just doing anything. I mean, I last worked with him in 2012. He did one last major appearance in 2019. That was at the WrestleCon in New York. Maybe a couple of other little small things, but he didn't do the circuit. He was pretty much off the circuit from like 2012 till the end. I mean, he just wasn't at, maybe did like two convention appearances, that I know of. So it's, I mean, what little he did, it was just few and far between, because his knee, his ankle, it was getting hard for him to move around. When I saw him at the WrestleCon, he was on one of those motorized scooters. So, just getting around. So, because he just couldn't do it anymore. So.
Gotcha. I work I do auctions for memorabilia, and I'm curious, were you able to hold on to anything of Sheik's over the years? Do you have anything of, like, great value? I'm assuming that
I have my, I have a bunch of autographed photos of Iron Sheik. So I have that. He gifted me the Iran pants. So I have those. I've been offered a lot of money for them, but I'm kind of holding on to that right now. Let me share you some. Let's do some show and tell. I have some. I got some photos I want to share with everybody.
No play girls, please.
No. Stuff from the old school. Nobody's ever seen this. Young school day, right there. That's the Iron. Here. Let me put that down. That's the Iron Sheik right there. That's the Shah of Iran. How about that? Nobody has this stuff.
That's amazing. Is that signed too?
No, it's not. It's unsigned. It's in one of those top loaders, but nobody has that. His young days when he was wrestling. There he is, right here. Wow. I'm not sure if that's Takti or one of the other Iranian wrestlers from back in the day. Just not sure what I don't remember what Takti looked like, but it's got that. Another one.
Wow, look at that.
Yeah, young school Iron Sheik. Okay.
Now, did he give those to you? Like, how did you get your hands on them?
Yeah. He gave them to me when we thought maybe we'd run some promo pictures on it, but like I never did. This is the Sheik. Here's the Sheik right here. I don't know who these other people are, but another old school picture from like the 60s and 70s, right there. Oh, here's one. Okay. Tell me who you recognize in this.
Let's see. It looks like the Sheik. It looks like the Rock. It looks like
the Iron
Bad
Sheik
News
is right
Brown,
here.
Right?
That's the Iron Sheik.
Bad News Brown. Is that Bad News Brown next to Muhammad Ali?
That's Muhammad Ali.
Right. Who's the guy with the beard next to his left? Is that Bad News Brown?
That could be. I don't know. That could be. I don't know who some of these other. This might be Vern Gagne. I don't know. That might be Vern. Don't know. His face is covered.
It's amazing. Amazing stuff, Eric.
Him with Bob Backlund.
Wow.
I got a couple more.
Who shot that Backlund picture? Do you know off the top of your head?
What's that?
Who shot that Bob Backlund picture? Do
I
you know
don't
off the top of your head?
I don't know, but here's one that's a classic. Tell me if you know who this guy. The Sheik is on the bottom. Kaz is on the bottom. Guess who that is?
Is that Zbyszko or San Martino?
Neither.
Jimmy, who is that, Jimmy?
I can't make it out. There's too much glare coming from my end.
Hold on. I'm trying to angle it right. Here, I'll get up nice and close.
Is that Blackjack Mulligan?
That's what it looks like.
Yeah, it looks like Mulligan. Who is it?
Flair.
What? Wow. What? That's amazing.
That to me, I think that's Flair. And you're talking back in the early 70s before Ric Flair became Ric Flair. This had to be up in the Minnesota area when they were working the Minnesota early days, like in the early 70s.
I'll tell you, Jimmy, I have to say, I guess not as funny as it is. If Flair did not have that airplane accident, he probably would have never made it in the industry.
How about the Sheik and Muhammad Ali?
Yeah, wow. That's great.
You got any of those signed? I can't tell if they're signed
No,
or not.
well, these are not signed. No.
Oh, okay.
Here's another one with Muhammad Ali. Sheik's in the corner over there. Not sure who some of these other. I think there's some other famous promoters from back the old days, but I just don't know who they are.
You know what? Nate just chimed in. He says he thinks that's Ole Anderson. I think he's right.
Who?
It's not Flair. It's Ole Anderson.
Yeah, I didn't think it was Flair either.
Yeah, Nate, I think that's a good call.
I don't know. I thought that would be Flair, because Flair kind of looked like that back in the day. Could be Ole. I don't know.
I don't know. It's a good question. We should have a trivia. Eric, you should have a trivia. Whoever gets that picture. What do you think? Let's say it right on air. What do you think?
There you go. Yeah, another one with Sheik and Ali. Here, his young wrestling days from Minnesota.
Wow.
Yeah, nobody has this stuff. Nobody. Here's where he transformed to the Iron Sheik from with the hair going bald and.
Did he ever tell you why he shaved his hair?
Vern Gagne told him to do it and just become the Iron Sheik.
Yeah, the right call.
Just a classic. Because true far enough from back in the day. Let me see what else I got. I got some other stuff here hidden. I got some other hidden gems here somewhere. I got all these 4x6s here. I haven't really gone through.
As you're looking through it, here's a question for you. You've managed and were an agent for so many wrestlers. Which ones hurt the most when they passed away? Unfortunately, a lot of them have. Which one really affected you emotionally, Eric?
I got a pretty thick skin when it comes to death, and it's just it all hurts, but you have a thick skin in this business because it's just that's how you're taught. But the one that hurt me the most, really the most, Chris Candido.
Why?
he was one of him and Balls were the two that broke me into the business. They helped me back in the day, back when I was first starting out, back in '85. We all met at the Asbury Park Convention Center, and they took a liking to me. And then we used to go to the Brooklyn Underground, Manny LeBron's gym in Brooklyn, and we used to do some wrestling up there. They kind of wrestled. I came along. I didn't really do. I was the driver back then, and there was a third person too. Didn't make it in the business, so I won't mention his name. But like they were all wrestling, and it's all documented. It's all documented in Chris Candido's book, No Gimmicks Needed. So it's all in there, page I think 12 and 13.
Eric, since you were so close to Candido, here's a question for you. Obviously, he made it in the business, but he really didn't make it. Why do you think that's the case?
I consider Chris one of the, probably one of the best workers I've ever seen in the business. Maybe his height, maybe, other people were just, you have a coach in baseball. They choose to push certain people. Certain people, whether they're better or not, just get that push. He just never got that push at the biggest level.
Jimmy, let me run that question to you, being the resident expert here. Why do you feel like Candido didn't make it? Or maybe I'm wrong for even saying that statement.
Well, no, you're not wrong if you're talking about, main event, super huge company, et cetera, et cetera. Of course, no, you're not wrong when you say it that way. It's just the way it was. But Eric said something interesting. So Eric said that he was taught to, learn to be, have a thick, skin in this business. I'm wondering, and maybe Eric can answer this. Did Chris Candido have, now let me finish my thought before you answer though. Did Chris Candido have thick skin for this business? Because we have examples that showed that maybe he wasn't tough enough to deal with the bullshit that goes on behind the scenes. What I mean by that is guys like Shawn Michaels banging his girlfriend, and he's aware of it, and he doesn't confront anybody, not going to Vince McMahon when he wants to be pushed, not defending himself. He obviously had problems with, taking whatever he was taking. Did he have a thick enough skin, or was he just a nice guy who got sucked into a really thick-skinned business?
There's many layers. There's many layers to your questioning. So
yes, there is.
I'm going to try to peel them back as best as I can here.
Okay.
Number one, Chris had a spot in New York. He didn't want to. He kind of, very hard to get spots in New York. So New York meaning WWE. So
okay.
He was kind of protecting that. He brought the girlfriend, wife, Tammy Sonny, the package deal. Of course, WWE saw her as the bigger star, which she was. And, she's got the push and whatever. And, Tammy, not only she had the talent, but she loved to fuck around, she loved to, you got the hottest chick going up there, and there's no other chicks up there at the time. Maybe Sable, maybe Terry Reynolds comes in, Marlena, like later on, but there was no girls up there. You got guys on the road, and, stuff happens. So, while stuff was happening, and Chris knew what was going on, he wasn't dumb. He just, how do you go up against Shawn Michaels? He's the number one guy in the company, probably the most powerful guy of the talent of workers, wrestlers in the company. And he had protection from Kevin Nash and Scott Hall and all that click stuff. So how do you go against that?
I got to ask you a question here, though. It's great that you brought that up. You're friends with Candido. He passes away. You've toured with the NWO, Hall, Nash. Did you ever, I'll use the word balls, have the balls to say, why did you treat Candido that way?
No,
Why?
I never. It just never came up. It just never. Good night, Monkey. I love you, kiddo. I, it just never came up. We were just talking about other stuff and just, kept, straight up with business. It's very hard. You got Hall and Nash and
let's change the question then. I know it's about money, Eric, but is there any point you were just sitting back and you're listening to these guys and you start thinking about Candido and you get angered inside?
No, I'll be honest. It just never crossed my mind. It just at that moment, it just never crossed my mind. I have so many other things to worry about.
I'll give you a third leg now. Now it's crossing your mind because we're speaking about it. What are your feelings about, obviously, Scott Hall passed away and Kevin Nash now, considering what they did to your friend?
Well,
Yeah, this ain't Greek Savage, bro. Come on.
Huh?
This ain't Greek Savage. Let's go.
No, I know. It's just, like, I never really had a great relationship with Scott Hall. I mean, it was okay, but he was kind of the most difficult of the bunch. Nash was okay, even though I've run hot and cold with him. We're good now, but back in the day, because I used him a lot more than I used Hall and I used X-Pac too, but I think I used Nash more. And we just I just run hot and cold, and it was just we had some rough spots, but ever since when I had my child, that all changed. He was happy that I became a father, and just he kind of found respect.
So let me ask.
It was touch and go. It was touch and go there for a while, from 2000, say 8-ish to 12.
I understand you're in the moment, so I'm going to kind of turn this to Jimmy. Jimmy, I know you're not an agent, but say you were. Do you think you could have gotten past if you were in Eric's situation?
I think that I've learned, especially in the last bunch of years, that, look, business is business, and I believe that there's only so much. Now, I do wonder how much it bothered Eric, as far as the circumstances and everything, but does that really benefit him if he starts, going down that avenue? He's working with them, and he's trying to earn a living, and he's got, wife and kid. I would probably say business is business. I mean, it's sad but true. That's what I think.
Eric, I totally get the Candido thing. What did New Jack mean to you?
New Jack's another one that always misunderstood. You had that reputation. If you didn't know him, you could be scared to death, like the guy going to kill you. But I knew him from back in ECW and back from Smoky Mountain. He was always cool with me. I mean, we always got along, and I knew the real him. So he couldn't do that intimidating stuff, because I read right through it, and it's he wasn't if you believe the hype, then okay, but I like to know about the person behind the character, and I kind of got to know him a little bit. When we traveled and we got to talk a little bit, and he was always good with me.
Eric, I want to take a minute just to say I want to thank all the Monte The Pharaoh family out there. As you know, Jimmy and I have gone through trials and tribulations. I mean, we're on a lot of different social media pages as long as, being in New York. But I think it's important. I want to share to it. Your guys' support, where me and Jimmy would call it a day after our first channel got broken down. Jimmy, how many subscribers do we have? 25,000? Please give me the right number.
I think it was technically 22, 3 and change, something like that. It was good.
So we now officially have reached the 17,000 subscriber mark. I want to thank everybody, especially my partner, who's nothing but a true talent. So, Jimmy, I thank you. I know it's just one portion of what we do here, and I want to thank our family who has supported us through thick and thin. And I want to thank Eric Sims, who's on the show, who's been nothing but a great agent who has supplied us with talent year over year. And let's not forget about Sal Corrente, who also has helped us out, try to give as great programming as we could. So I wanted to give that shout out. Eric, we're almost out of time because we're going to go to Rock and Robin. I'm going to hand this over to Jimmy. And Eric, first I want to say, on a personal note, you know how I feel about you as a person. I think you're a wonderful guy.
Thank you.
All things aside, you got a beautiful family. Your wife is a wonderful lady. Your daughter is just an angel. You deserve all the credit you get for being the agent you are. You're always respectful. You have a good heart. And Jimmy likes you. And if Jimmy likes you, that means something for sure. So, Jimmy.
Yeah.
This is it with Eric, because we go into the great Rock and Robin, and I want to remind everybody next week, the return of Hollywood. Are you excited for that one, Jimmy?
Her voice strikes a chord. She sounds like someone else, but I'm looking forward to it.
You're funny. All right, Jimmy, let's get Sims with and let's not forget Eric Sims makes a double appearance. He's like Rick Rude. He's on 2 different shows on the same night, so he'll be on Marty Jannetty's podcast at 10 o'clock, which is taped. All right, Jimmy, go ahead.
All right. Eric, can I get a mazel tov for getting married recently? Are you even aware?
Yes, mazel tov.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Look, listen, as long as you're happy and you're happy, I'm happy.
There you go. Thank you.
Good.
Thank you much. Thank you. I appreciate that. I can't get past that comment you made earlier, so I got to know who taught you to have a thick skin in this business, because you may want to write a book one day and give people advice on how to deal with all the subhuman assholes you come across. Who taught you?
The wrestlers, because this business, you're around these guys all the time, and part of being around, it's not me, but anybody that's in the business. You rib one another, and you have fun with each other. So, you gotta, you dish it, you take it, you have. That's how the guys have fun. So sometimes it gets a little, sometimes carried away or whatever. So you just gotta let it bounce right off you. So
right.
it is what it is.
All right, so, Eric, real quick, if I can get this in too. Mike said a lot of good things about you, but this is coming from me, okay? All these years, all the different wrestlers we've brought in, we've had several agents, obviously. You are the best, man. You really are. You are the best, and you're totally professional. We could always count on you, and I am very appreciative. So thank you for that, Eric.
Thank you so much. I love my friendship and my partnership with the Monte and the Pharaoh show, and it's you guys have helped me out too with the podcast and getting talent on, and hey, you give me a voice to come on and do my stuff, whether it's via the phone or in studio, so we've had I hope I've made some good content for the program.
You've made great content, and Jimmy, there is what we call hot mic, which I have a bunch of secret recordings still on the Monte the Pharaoh computer, and I'm waiting for permission from Eric to release one of the hot mics of him. As of at this point, he has not given us permission. He told me never to release that video. But if Eric does ever meet his demise while we're still here, we will play that in our tribute show to Eric Sims.
Oh, I'm sure he's thrilled to hear that. Oy.
All right, Eric.
I still got to work with certain people, so
Eric, you have to get to another show. You've got a lot of traveling to do, so we got to let you go. I want to thank you again, really. Before we go, where does the Iron Sheik rank as the greatest pro wrestlers in history?
Ooh.
He's. I gotta say he's probably one of the top 2 or 3 best villains in wrestling, as far as like a true international villain. Everybody plays good guys or bad guys, but you gotta a true international villain that came along at the right time. Because remember, he came along right when the hostage situation was going on in Iran, and he played the part. He played the role so good, and then you need America's hero to come save the day, and that was Sergeant Slaughter. And so they made they did good business together. And I mean, it's like life imitating art, or art imitating life. So and that's how wrestling is. You take from the storylines, and I mean from the headlines of real world, and then you make it into storylines, and that's how wrestling is sometimes.
Eric, by the way, a mess out there is asking, did anyone keep count on how many times Eric Sims says "you know"? So we've got the count officially at 46. Jimmy, send us out. Eric, thanks for joining us. Join us at 9 o'clock. We've got the great Rockin' Robin in studio. That's going to be a thing. And maybe, Jimmy, we keep the interview a certain way so Dave LaGreca can't steal it like he did with Greg Gagne, or the WWE can steal our Ricky Steamboat interview. Maybe we could do something a little different.
What did LaGreca do with Gagne?
He took our interview and did the exact same interview. Him, Bubba Ray, and Tommy Dreamer, question for question. It was like,
but you forgot one thing. He also managed to try to laugh like me.
Yeah, that's it. It was, and if you caught, and again, if you caught the WWE thing, I don't think Ricky Steamboat's ever talked about his parents. They dedicated a whole 30 minutes. Thank you, MMP. God bless. Yeah. Jimmy, send us out.
You're a leader in the pack there, Mike.
Yeah, so. Leader in the pack with not a dime to put together, my friend.
Well, we got to figure out how to fix that.
And we know that. We know that's not true, man. The family supports us well.
Yes. You've been watching the trend-setting, trailblazing Monte and the Pharaoh with our special guest Eric Sims, and in a few minutes we'll be rocking with Robin, brother. Later.